It's like that drowsy feeling of wandering out into the hall when you get sick of the noise of a party in a hotel ballroom. You just hear that music wafting down the hall and all you want to do is fall asleep on the bench. I don't know what it is about muted music that just sounds like memories. Hello everyone, and welcome to Dreamcore, a bodycam perspective liminal exploration game. And I know those are a dime a dozen, but this one seems to have a different air about it. The store page claims that there are no jump scares and no entities. It is simply the spaces and our contemplation of them. In other words, it's my kind of game. I want to thank the developers for providing me with an early key to check this out with. And let's play level. Ooh. Look at that, we actually do have to select a level. Unlocks Summer 2025, Winter 2025, and a black screen 2026. Now, don't let the fact that there's only 5 here fool you. The developer who specifically emailed me actually said that these are some vast spaces. So I'm really excited to see what's here. Let's start with the familiar dream pools. Beware of the sounds around you. Patience and observation are key. Look at that, even the title text was out of focus. I guess we came barreling down that slide. I wonder why that would be. I mean, how we got here is anyone's guess, but that's one of the things that's so scary about the backrooms to me, is the idea that it's almost like glitching out of bounds in a video game. You just happen to perform that right combination of things to end up here. And you'll never know what it was, and even if you tried, you couldn't replicate it. I like to think that maybe we were like a security guard at a Splish Splash or just water park type establishment. We saw somebody go down the slide, we tried to go down after them, figured we'd live a little. And just somewhere in the dark, this happened. Now, being in out-of-focus bodycam, I guess these things are meant to operate in low life, so they're always at f2.8, meaning only things that are directly in front of us will truly be in focus. I think the reason this style has gotten so popular is because you're kind of downgrading to upgrade in obscuring everything through this sort of distorted wide-angle lens view and VHS effects. It kind of obscures the imperfections in video game graphics. Okay, we were told to be perceptive. My intuition is telling me that this is a bad idea. Notice, flashlight needed here. Always interesting in a place so nonsensical to see plainly readable English text. Look at the reflections. I think I'm going to put my sound up a little more. Oh, look at that. CRT TV mode. There's a whole bunch of graphics options. We can actually crop it to a 4:3 aspect ratio. I don't know if I want that just for the sake of the video. We can also turn off the VHS mode. And while it's still a bit out of focus, we can see it like that. So it is up to us. That's cool. I, for now, am going to play it on default the way it was intended. Because I sort of like it. I mean, I'm somebody that's really critical of doing like a faux retro style where it's not warranted, but I think it really works here, and it's because liminal spaces have a way of digging at our most obscure memories. Dreams of endless pools or dark hallways in a school. No climbing over railing. They're totally unmoving, inanimate objects, presumably, but I get the impression it'd be like falling into a pig pen. Pigs are vicious. I mean, I heard somebody explain it to me one time is in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy falls into the pig pen, there's a reason the farmhands were all freaking out. Ooh. I'm just gonna put the volume up a smidge so I can really detect any ambiance. For example, I swear I just heard the faintest music. Oh, we can zoom in and out with left click and right click. I've never known a body cam to be able to do that, but I'm digging it. Disturbing that still water. I get the impression that it would be really, really warm. And that it doesn't smell like chlorine, it smells like the other thing. You know, that stuff that theme parks use. It has a less harsh smell, but you definitely know it when you smell it. I don't like the sound of that splashing water echoing around this chamber. God, those reflections make everything look doubly huge. They're like mirrors in a pizza restaurant. Look at that. Everywhere we look, it's like there's different branching paths. Some games try to make it so that you can take it piece by piece, but I'm getting the distinct impression that that's going to be real difficult here. That sign before said that I would need a flashlight to enter, so that's presumably our main goal. Shape in a corner startled me. So you get the distinct impression of a water park, but these structures look sort of like those fun showers that they would put for kids to run around under them. It's weird how it's like combining a public pool with a more commercial, like, theme park type of thing. Those are electric lights on the ceiling. You know, it's funny, I think of it as daylight coming through those windows, but it's so bright, so blinding, that I can't actually see what's beyond. I mean, if it were to just be a big, bright panel, I wouldn't even know the difference. Look at that. It comes out. It almost looks like it even comes up a little bit and then stays level for so long before wrapping around this thing like a boa constrictor around a torso. And for as much as this place seems to want to be bright and well lit, there are other areas that are completely engulfed in darkness. And, you know, it's hard to say anything new when I've been covering liminal spaces for so long, but nevertheless, I feel like I make new observations every time. You drive yourself crazy trying to make sense of something that has no sense, or rather, there's just enough to make you think there's sense to it. Stairway, use handrails. Wait. Do you see what I mean? I just heard that music again, almost like mall music. It's over in this direction. I don't even know if I can get closer. but it's there for a second and then moves away, and it seems so directional. I feel like I have to chase it, but also I know that by running blindly after it, I'm getting so far from anything I would find familiar. But is it even worth trying to see everything? Is it worth trying to stay to a methodical path? Or should I just be wandering? Is it better to do the maze trick, just hold the left or right side and assume I'll get there eventually, but where even is there? There's a constant sense of progression and at the same time hopelessness. Oh boy. There's that moment where I'm waiting for it to focus, and I just think that while it's doing so, some figure will duck in and then out from around the corner. The camera just barely not capturing it. The only way I can navigate in here is the contrast with the doorways in the back. You know, this game seems to have been getting some attention in the lead up to its release, because a lot of people have actually recommended it to me. I'm assuming that's a plant. I need to believe that's a plant because I don't even want to imagine the figure that would be otherwise. Look at that. Plastic clouds just dangling from the ceiling. It's like they only bothered with the illusion for that one part. Yet these slides can't possibly be safe. I can barely see, but it looks like they terminate right there. You're gonna have a lot of energy to still bleed off once you get to the bottom. And say you're up there, because it looks like the stairs lead to the same level. It's like some administrator just casually walks down to collect the remains that'll reach the bottom long before they do. Those bright colors. It goes back to what I often say, which is our current conception of liminal space imagery seems to tie in a lot with like 90s play places. There's a lot of orange and red and blue and green. But it's always combined with stuff like this, the behind the scenes. It's almost like we're viewing an idealized version of our childhood combined with the knowledge of the reality of what it actually was. I mean, when you're a kid, all you see is the God! So the store page lied. The store page lied hard. I don't even know what that sound was that it made, but it really is like... Well, like something from a dream. You guys are not my friends, that much is clear. I may actually be having a cardiac event right now. It's the fleetingness of it that makes it feel so much like a dream, like almost like I knew it was going to happen, but I simultaneously didn't. Like, I wouldn't even be able to explain why it was scary, but of course it's a jump scare, but... It's the kind of thing where when I woke up and tried to tell someone, it would be like, yeah, this is gonna sound stupid, but trust me, it was really scary. We've even got the dream version of running, like our legs just won't carry us. The music conveying a sense of grandiosity, but we would never understand why. Like, it feels so important, and yet there's nothing here that's anything different. dreams run on pure emotion. If there's something you're after, you'll never catch it. If you need to escape, you'll never be able to run. Okay, well, I'm gonna go find one of those big dots in the corner, and then you're a dead man. I don't like your shifty little glances. No, hang on. Is that just an optical illusion, or does your gaze actually... I saw you move! I saw it! I saw it happen! No jump scares, no entities, yeah, right. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is still actually really creepy. I deliberately avoided describing this as a horror game in the intro, but it sort of is. The Complex Expedition did a similar thing. It waited a long time to hit me with anything that could resemble a jump scare, but when it did... Well, we could walk around the pool like a boring adult. Or we could just keep going. I will give it this. And that's it. These spaces are truly massive. Like, I realized early on that I shouldn't even be trying to make sense of it. Huh. In a sea of rooms that have either been fully bright or fully dark, this one feels more like a retirement home. Like a depressing sort of lighting. There's not a lot of lights, but I guess the tiles reflect enough to fill the space. Let's make sure we use that handrail. We don't want to slip on this. I do wonder, with all these reflections, are these tiles just damp with moisture? It almost seems to be coming from above. It's like entering a church and hearing the sounds of a choir, but from not... God, it's like entering a cathedral and hearing the monks chanting. But they're simply not here. Or rather, you feel that they are coming from somewhere, but some other chamber even further down, indicating that even this huge space must be much, much bigger. Actually, this more resembles a hallway in a home. Just out of reach. It's like it's coming from the light, but I can't get over there. I wonder if those signs are simply a tongue-in-cheek way of telling us we can't climb over the railings no matter how hard we want to. We're told to use sound. It's giving me the impression that I need to keep right. You know, I had said that it's like a convergence of pools and water parks, but the plants here and the way some of these things are railed off makes me think of like a convention center water feature. We're literally trying to go into the light, and it's always keeping it just beyond our reach. I can't move any faster now. I can look towards the end of the hall, and I can look behind. When I turn to face the wall, it's truly pitch black. The only thing I can see is the color and the noise. Wait. Maybe this is a problem of me playing too many liminal maps, but I look at some of these rooms and I think, wait, have I been here already? What if I go a different way? Actually, you know what? This feels like it would be where that leads, right? Assuming we can trust this to actually be Euclidean geometry. There's a real sense of scale to this, though, in that everything is just sort of inconveniently big. We made it. But from this side, until we zoom in, those plants do look like the monks waiting in the sides, all singing to me. Well, if we come down this way, at least we don't have to make the trip in water. Wait, have we been here already? I don't... A darkened hallway drawn into the wall. God, look at that. It's already in the dark, but it's drawn in black, and so the only reason we can see it at all is because of the coloration in the visual noise. I'm telling you, this game is either going to be a minuscule file size or a massive one. Stuff like this, I tend to lean towards massive. Like, there's no point in me commenting on each individual feature, you know, like these pools that are widely spaced, uniform, but have no way to enter them. However, I think it would be a disservice to cut large portions, because I will say, this is the first liminal space game I've seen where it truly is about the wandering. It's designed in such a way to make us work for it, to climb these stairs. And there's no reward except having gone another step farther. Of course, music makes for a good side objective. music seems to be coming from behind this wall. Okay, we can climb up ladders. You guys got something to say? Yep, I saw you. But it's kind of weird how you did that while I was glancing to the right at the other guy. Can I do anything with you? See, this is why I would die and therefore defeat the back rooms. It's because I would try to poke the entities, even if what they are is very downplayed. But something like this just seems out of place. A dirty, rusty chair? It's like some of these things. Were you always facing this way? No, but I can see you glancing at me. You guys are making me paranoid. Kind of funny how the clouds are down here, but the windows are up there. But like, some of this feels like it came from a middle school auditorium, and some of this feels like it came from a Russian gulag. I've always found it interesting how toddler nightmares are every bit as creatively, no-holds-barred horrifying as an adult's dream. Yet they come pre-packaged with all of this childlike imagery. I don't even want to look up into the darkness there. Please shower before entering the swimming pool. Provide me with a shower and I'll make it happen. Some things are clearly interconnected, but it's so hard to keep track of if I've been somewhere or not. I don't think I had seen what was down there before. I think I heard the music back the other way. I think, if anything, I should be following the music at all times, if possible. Of course, it can be hard to hear over the sound of my own running. It's like I can always just sort of faintly hear it to the point where I don't know if it's just wishful thinking or not. Okay, I think that's a huge plant in the middle. Yes, but from behind the pillar, it looks like some huge creature with its wings splayed out, I mean. I've been going all this time, and I don't think I've intersected a single familiar place yet. But every time that music gets louder, I am encouraged. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of being a small child and waking up in the middle of the night, and it's all dark and I want to go talk to someone so I don't feel so alone, and I hear a TV on in the living room. And I walk out and the geometry of my house is not how I remember it, and I keep following it. It always sounds like it's just around the corner. It's deeply unsettling to me. Like, forget the toddler analogy right there. Like, you know, forget the child waking up analogy because you don't even need it. It's just extra fluff. The idea of a sound always being just around the corner. You know where you hear it from, but it's never there when you arrive. That's really unsettling to me. The flashlight, and it is indeed coming from a radio. I figured as much. Now the question is, were you always there, or did you just arrive now? That sounded like a voice right at the end saying hello. I mean, if anything, I think this is a demonstration that anything can be made to be creepy. I keep turning around, thinking that it's going to have like a weeping angel mechanic. For as irrational as it is, I keep thinking I'll see it squeezing through one of these hallways. It's like being outdoors and indoors simultaneously. I don't know. It's not just the jump scare. Well, maybe there is value in that, actually, but I'll get to that in a second. When you're alone with your thoughts for so long, the feeling that anything is here, literally as demonstrated, no matter how innocuous it is terrifying, but maybe it's partly because it's so innocuous. Maybe it's because it's scary in a deep but very unspecific way. You couldn't even explain it if you tried. And here I am trying. Dream logic functions on pure emotion, and I think we recognize that more in the waking world when we note the contrast between what it should feel like and how it does feel. Now the problem is we have to get back to where we came from. Well, we were in a similar tunnel before. Maybe if we follow this all the way down? Hi. I'm pretty used to these images, but that's something I've never seen before. Has music. Oddly enough, though, it's giving me a feeling of being protected. Like, even though I was startled by it, it's such a calming, yet still somewhat heavy tone. It honestly is like a warm blanket. Combining it with something like that, the idea of being watched. What's the name for the fear of holes where there shouldn't be holes? Like, why is this so uncomfortable? I feel like I'm looking at a medical condition rather than windows and a wall. There is a hazard sign, which has historically meant flashlight needed. I want to have a look over here, but then I'm going to come back. It's over there. Looks real complex. That reflection sure looked like a shadowy beast crouched underneath the stairs. Look, they're all crisscrossing staircases and walkways. But these small little divots at the bottom give the impression that there's a lot more entrances and exits than there are. Thing is, aside from that one jump scare and the occasional music, the only sound we've heard is our own footsteps and, more often, the splashing. But with splashing, it's not like, okay, one step, one tap. It's more ripply. It's a whooshing sound, and, well, it kind of echoes all throughout, making you question if you're the only one doing it. I hadn't realized that was with my flashlight on. That looks like a snowman. Two sentries standing guard. Why does this feel like I'm entering my own crypt to be laid down? Steep staircase into the darkness isn't helping that feeling. Whoa. Let's go to the basement. Find one of the entrances to the basement of the dream pools. The basement of the dream pools. The thought had never occurred to me, but somehow even the sentence is actually really freaking me out. You know, maybe it would be a good exercise for myself to keep myself sane, to start sort of directing this, you know? To assume that this is found footage, and that my character is trying to collect proof, knowing that even if we don't make it, maybe someone will find this. We've got to make sure we show the right stuff. There's just something about an impossibly high ceiling where my light just barely reaches the top, where we can actually see the fall off. Oh my. Just stop what I was doing and turn off the light. You know, in urban exploration, I've done this in tunnels. The urge is real, because it's so rare for us to experience true darkness. True sensory deprivation, actually, because if we listen, there's only the static of the camera itself. The hiss is the only sound. An echo in the dark. I love that little focus that it has to do. It has to reacquire autofocus when you turn the light on. Oh no. Oh no, it's so big I can't even hug a wall. But I'm sure gonna try to. You couldn't pay me to walk through the middle of that. God, imagine if right now we just started hearing another set of splashes from across. I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know whether to go find if it's another person also trapped here like me, or if it's something that I should avoid at all costs. Whatever I do find couldn't possibly be as horrifying as the 1,000,001 images per second I would be conjuring in my head. In this game, the fact that Traversal takes its time is a big part of it. You're meant to contemplate the futility of this. The fact that you're in the middle of an arduous task of crossing a massive space right now, and at the end of it, you know you'll only find another space, and then another, and then another. You have nothing to do but push forward, but no assurance that anything will change. Really, I guess we're pushed on by the idea of any change. Not because we think it'll deliver us to some better goal, but simply because we have no other goal to follow. I definitely just heard something. I don't even want to move. I don't want to move because I don't want whatever that was to be able to hear me, and I want to be able to hear it. Please tell me they're not actually going to be as cruel as to hide something in the middle of this. Here we go. Look at you being slightly offset. Let's go. Oh no. I can barely move, and I'm getting away. I'm just getting away, but behind me is whatever that was. Yes, please, get me back onto dry land. It's weird. I'm almost playing this from the perspective of both the person in this situation and the viewer, where I'm pushing forward, utterly baffled at what this person saw, and constantly expecting it to end by seeing something come flying out of the darkness. I just heard something. There it is again. Well, obviously we're gonna go between the railings. We're not barbarians. It seems to be coming from the left. Thankfully, that's just where we're going. You know, for a brief moment in time, my goal was to get back to where we started. I'm starting to wonder if that's ever gonna happen. I can still feel it off to my left. But this doesn't sound so much like music as a repeating tone. Not that it makes any difference to me. Any difference is music to my ears. Well, rather, anything that isn't some huge thing crawling around in this place. Great. What is it about a ceiling over windows? It's like the walls are sometimes just walls and sometimes they're the exterior of a building. Wait. I mean, that's a reflection. But there's something there. No, wait. Depth. Look at the depth. That might actually be something inside the room. And there's a little bit of a flicker, like someone's hands are in front of it. I just got really startled by that. Those things, their only purpose is to provide a dark shadow in the corner. Perhaps it was just a reflection? I don't even know what to think anymore. Well, I know what to think if I can get over there. If I can get over there, maybe that's a way out? I mean, it's the only light, quite literally the only light we've seen down here. But we're getting further away, and I don't know if we're getting further away to get closer, or if we're just getting further away. Right? Maybe a staircase will go upward? No. It's like every time I try to do something in particular, it ends up making sure that I do the exact opposite. And I don't know if the right way will be through one of these channels, but certainly I don't want to try it because I'm going to be a slowpoke in there. Of course, slowpoke hardly matters in a context like this. I don't know if it was just artifacts, but I swear I saw something go around the corner there. I think it really was just artifacts, but still. Well, dead end, we have no choice. I always think I'm just gonna pop over here and see what this is, and if it doesn't get me anywhere, I'll go back. But by the time you've seen anything, going back is a task. You have to weigh whether it's worth it to go back or just keep going. But there is a reason for this. Like, it's not just making you spend a long time here. It does it because it wants you to constantly be thinking about the fact that you spent a lot of time here. Thinking about your situation, thinking about what it is you're even looking for. But the thing is, in the back rooms, you'll know it when you see it. It's just how it is. This seems to be a deviation from the grid that we were on back there. So once again, I see this, I figure that's gotta be something. Of course, that is a bold assumption, not one that I can necessarily trust on its face. Because this is taking a real long time, and sometimes I start to see a fictional back wall in the noise. Sometimes I get excited that it looks like a light around the corner, but then I realize it's just my own flashlight. It may not be the same shape, but it reminds me just a bit of a certain liminal hotel. Look at this. It's like we're walking down the streets of a city made out of pool. And that's a weird thought, the idea of one type of structure made out of another structure. To give us something that looks sort of familiar until you realize that not one single thing is right. Like, look, the street that runs through it is a lazy river. Turning just back in on yourself? I think you are. What happens if I go down the other way? Maybe I should just be going back. Maybe I should be going back to that light, but how do I get there? Half of this game is just pushing forward, hoping to find something, and the other half is wondering, do I think I could get back to that thing I saw all the way back there? There's a narrow door at the end. And an X-shaped structure with a round pool in the center. I swear this is where we came in. But it's not, right? It can't be. No. No climbing over railing sometimes means dead end, nowhere to go. Just the thought that the splashlight is the only light with us. Imagine if it were to go out, you would never, ever find your way out. You tease me so. Well, we've gotten back now. We really have to use this zoom to scout ahead because our run is so slow. Maybe if we can crawl in above that light, we can exit through it? Or maybe it's just another way to distract us. Yeah, my money's on that. Let's take a moment to think about the title. Dreamcore. I mean, in a dream, you may have some sense of agency, maybe some, but it's really on rails. Whatever you think about, whether you want it to happen or not, that's what's gonna happen. I'm so sleepy in real life right now, but I think I wasn't tired before. I think this is actually lulling me to sleep. There is, I think I heard something. There is something hypnotic about simply navigating spaces. The fact that it's out of focus, it makes it feel like I'm watching one of those old-timey fishing shows on public access, or one of those art shows on PBS. That old style that is massively outdated, yet still somehow comforting in its imperfection. I don't know. It made them feel more like real people, like you were going over to your grandma's house and having a conversation about something she was working on. know how I started talking about PBS shows, but that's the vibe that I get. You know, those shows that have almost like a conversational tone that I suppose I've tried to replicate here, but it's like Mr. Rogers or like Between the Lions or something. It's just a little bit creepy, but really, as long as you don't have to worry about starving to death, I guess, you can just kind of lose yourself in it, which is why I don't think I'm going to be cutting very much. I think that's how I'm going to play this going forward, and that's how I'm going to edit this, is we're here together just kind of watching this imagery go by, sort of like those streams where it's just a camera on the front of a train, instead of the Siberian wilderness where barreling through endless rooms and corridors. But it's made a little better by the fact that you have some company. You know, it never did tell me that finding some theoretical endpoint would bring me to the next level. Everything that's available seemed available to choose from the start. The wandering is the point, and if we keep this up, we'll get there eventually. We have to, right? Hearing it again, this time on my right. It's sort of bassy. That's it! An elevator! God, to think how many times we've been close to it, but of course, on all these echoing tiles, sound carries. So who knows how close we really were. Unfortunately, it's another case of so close, yet so far away. Every once in a while, I swear I hear a grunt or a moan that I have no way of figuring out if it was just me. I'm just hearing things, if it's in the hisses of the camera. It's like my instinct is always to take the turn that's closest to what we saw, but I'm starting to think that's not always right. The fact that I'm actually drawing the sound of the splashing water has startled me after all this time. Sometimes a reflection makes you think it's light pouring out, when really it's just closer. Those are also stairs. We don't want stairs, right? Why is it that sometimes I can move faster? This attempt to get to that elevator has been a total failure. But it is our objective. It's all we've got. Problem is, at this point, I don't know if I could even get back to the place I saw it from. I'm pretty sure we've been in here. And I know we're getting farther away. It's seeing each of these pillars come onto the edge of our light, which does project pretty far, by the way, and always thinking, like, surely just beyond the black, this must be the back wall, this must be the end, and it just never is. And there's only so many times you can think that in a row before you start to think, is this really just infinite? Do you know how much I would give to be able to climb over some of these railings? Everything. My kingdom for the ability to climb over railings. I feel like I'm going backwards. See, how did we get all the way up here? Okay, a staircase here, a wide staircase with no railings. Might be a good thing. Maybe we can come out where that light is. But I can hear the beep, and I know I heard it earlier, but I have to see if there's something. Yeah, I'm guessing this all just wraps directly around the object. Oh my god, this is awful. It's getting further away. We've ended up down here. Only one above. That's the annoying thing. We are only one above. We need to find a way to get down and then come back to this place, I guess. Well, look, we've looked down this exact same way before, which means if we just keep following this path, we will eventually at least have to get back to where we were. You know what I've realized? These sentries come in different numbers of body components, but they've also completely replaced plants. Haven't seen a single plant down here at all. I guess they need that sunlight, if we can call it sunlight. Even that's an interesting question, because if we can call up the sun, we can say we're on Earth, or at least in view of it, but you don't get that impression. It is as isolated as one can possibly be. That was a weird effect for a second. It was like there was a huge mist that dissipated as soon as I rounded the corner. And here we are once more. This is... Okay, if we come down here, I don't remember whether I went forward or to the left last time. I think maybe I probably would have tried to go downward, right? I think I remember this, so I'm gonna try a different way. I think I remember that being a thing. Our footsteps change to something more echoey in this massive chamber. Right or backward? Well, I don't want to be going further up. I also don't know if what I want to be doing is relevant here. Oh my god, it's the Slalom of Doom. It's like being in a flooded mall after dark. And don't ask me for a sense of direction right now, I don't have one. I'm just going forward. We were close to the elevator at one point, but close doesn't mean anything. At this stage, all it did was show us that it's there. A little change in elevation? Why not? Stuff. Wait. That's an exit sign. If I can just get down there. Stairs going up. So screw that. But if I can just get down there. These things aren't going to have anything resembling a staircase behind them. Nope. Please, you've showed me 3 different things that looked like potential salvation. And not one of them has borne anything. I actually can't fit through here. These things aren't equidistant from the curved edges. Okay, well that looks creepy, which kind of draws special attention to it, makes me wonder where it goes. I mean, as if it matters. Back to here. This goes further down, though. Potentially interesting. As does this. Far down as we can go, right? How have we made no progress? We can actually see that there is just a solid ceiling above that. is I can't even see if a given area even has a door because of these ribbed walls. Down and up and down and up and down and up. I'm just at a complete loss. Where I was. Does that mean absolutely do not go this way, or does that mean go this way? Look at this, we're even starting to see railings where there's nothing to jump over, as if these walls shift around. But even trying to attribute logic to that is a fool's errand. Have we made it out of the basement? Have we? Or have we just passed through in yet another fleeting moment in a string of thousands? Yeah, it looks like it's that one. Just one moment where we could see straight up. And funnily enough, that was the situation we were in and trying to leave half an hour, 45 minutes ago. I don't know how long it's been. My total record time right now is like an hour 22. That's the only thing I have to ground myself, because it feels like I've been in here for 3 hours. Haven't seen an entryway like this before, which makes me foolishly believe that it's significant. We're here. Look at that, all this, and we weave our way around what we've been trying to find the entire time, and it's literally like a moth to a lamp. The only thing that draws us to this, that makes us see it as a solution, is the fact that it's different from its surroundings. In we go. Whether it means anything, who knows, who cares? Yes, this was always it. This was always the way. We were right. The old objective is dead. Long live the new objective. This would be the moment when we hear rapidly splashing footsteps behind us in the dark. 94. I feel like this is the moment where I just kind of lay my forehead against the metal, feel the coldness after we've been in this damp, warm humidity the entire time. Let's go. Mission accomplished, Debs. I mean, you told me that this is about the contemplation of the hopelessness, about feeling like you're lost forever, and even though I've been recording for less than an hour and a half and seen a lot, that felt hopeless. That was... I've heard of sci-fi punishments of making perception of time feel like 1 second is 1,000 years and having people serve like a one-day sentence. Well, this felt like that. And there we are. A credit sequence at the end of each one. Each one can almost be considered its own liminal game. And it felt like that. Even though I saw a lot of things and spent a lot of time in there, there was a lot I didn't see because it just wasn't possible to try and see everything. But that was a lot of fun, and certainly, even in a sea of similar games using similar imagery, that was surprisingly fresh because it was taking a different aspect of the liminal experience and really focusing on making sure that that was emphasized. In this case, the vastness and the disorientation. Where other games make it more about, like, you know, the entities pursuing you or about the strangeness of the architecture, this had that to an extent, but this was, I keep using this word, but it was much more contemplative. It's more about having a long time crossing these spaces to think about the situation you're in and really ruminate on your feelings regarding it. Dedicated to James Leyland Kirby. I'm not sure if I'm going to split this up into parts or if I'm going to do it all as one video yet, but I guess I'll just continue by saying the way you feel about it and the feelings that you're meant to ruminate on are going to change throughout it, where at first I came in with this sense of wonder, as you normally do with the liminal spaces, which quickly gave way to fear and trepidation, especially when it established very early on, here's a jump scare, and it never did it again. That's the crazy thing, is at first I just went, okay, you lied, you said there were no jump scares, but I've realized its purpose now. It is there to show you that it will do it. It doesn't want to do it, it doesn't want to make that the experience, but it needs to plant the idea in your head. You can't be left with the feeling that it won't. And so it kills that right off the bat. And then there's the trepidation as you enter the basement, how everything goes completely pitch black. I love how there is no ambient light. If you don't have your flashlight, you have nothing. And you spend a long time down there, to the point where once you finally do encounter what can be called sunlight again, a long time after the fact, it's almost like a religious experience, even though it was everywhere in the beginning. It makes you feel like a mole man, and the fact that it can make you feel that way in such a short period of time, it destroys your perception of time. That's the thing, is that down in those basements, it's creepy for the darkness and the vastness of the space. A lot of your own phobias will come into play here, but the thing that did it for me was the lack of any assurance that I was ever getting any closer to what I was looking for, and I didn't even know what I was looking for. A couple of times it showed me something, but just showing me something doesn't mean I'm close. If anything, it just felt like it was taunting me. Sometimes it felt like I would never actually reach that elevator. I wasn't sure I was supposed to. It was just something different to take me to something different so I can do the same thing all over again. There's a real sense of futility in it that can either cause you to panic or cause you to relax, and I think it kind of depends on the person. I've already tried to press continue and it just takes me to the last save in the dream pools. So let's go for something very different, something maybe a bit more familiar, but nonetheless unnerving, maybe because it's so familiar, an eternal Suburbia. Being lost is the least of your problems. Patience and observation are key. Eternal Suburbia. Look at that, where before it was somewhat ambiguous how we got here, it's quite clear we simply woke up one day in something that is only in broad strokes our reality. I mean, we've gone from Suburbia to Suburbia, but this isn't how it was. Wait, look at that. On that pole, there's like speakers. It looks like a Tim Burton version of a perfect Suburbia. Rolling exaggeratedly soft hills with little gingerbread houses sitting on top. White picket fences stretching all over, but it's almost like the borders of farmland rather than someone's actual yard. 6:43. Look at that. The way that light reflects off of the hard wood. If you showed me this, I would think it was a photograph. And we get the achievement, wake up. This is not real, it's just a dream. Wake up. Please wake up. Oh, that music. It's not coming from our alarm clock, it's coming from those poles. But the house itself, though lit, is completely unfurnished except for the room we woke up in. Every scene worthy of a wallpaper, huh? I was trying to figure out what's so weird about this. I mean, beyond the obvious. And I've got it. There's no streets. It's forgotten the critical component of Suburbia, the thing that connects it all. Instead, our yards just kind of connect, like the fences decide where we can and cannot go. We can open any of these doors, but not all these houses are as well lit as ours. Look at that. Doors in nonsensical arrangements. There are yards, yes, but there doesn't seem to be any such concept as a front or a backyard. In fact, not every house even has rooms. Some of them are quite hollow. Well, this one goes up and then down in a mirror image. There's a day-night cycle. Oh god, there's a day-night cycle. music suddenly cuts out. I don't like this. And I don't have the flashlight either. It's like we're a different person trapped in a different space. Although it's much less a realistic darkness this time around and much more like a little film set, like for some stop motion or claymated movie. That music was eerie at first, but now that it's gone, I miss it. Let's get inside. Is that supposed to be like a cave entrance or something? Or is that a darkened house sitting on a hill? Maybe trying to imply that there's something stretching down below it? God, I sit in here with the lights all on, but knowing it's night outside. There's no sunlight coming through. Like, you can tell that this is all artificial. All the blinds closed and the sudden silence. It's like every once in a while some huge predator passes by and the whole map holds its breath so that it won't catch its attention. Should I just wait in here throughout the night? I'm only thinking this because when I played Escape the Backrooms with Killian, there was a similar setting, and it was really unwise to be out after dark. I just keep thinking about what it said before, being lost is the least of your worries. I'm just scanning everywhere for movement. Is there... There doesn't seem to be a moon. There are water towers, the only other structure, but no moon. It really does feel like living on the table of some old man's model train set. But I guess we can wander the neighborhood at night, if one can call it that. It's kind of the exact opposite of the dream pools, isn't it? In that it's not closed off areas. For as large as some of those chambers could be, they were segmented here. Oh my god. Alright, which of these houses is closer? I need to get inside. I didn't want to run because the sound of my own footsteps is scaring me right now. It falls to a low rumble. Let me in. Why has my camera done this? Thank you. This interior is very different. Did you see that? Did you see that? Was that just... Oh. That's the sun rising. And just like that, all is well in Suburbia again. Wait. Oh, we could always have come this way, right? So that's the cycle. Music, then nightfall and silence, then those god-awful sirens, like some cataclysm is upon us, but we can't see what's happening. And then right back to business as usual. The thing about this blurriness is I keep seeing these poles sticking up, and I'm not sure if it's someone standing there. It's so unfocused, and I haven't liked it at times, but also it makes the whole experience feel very unspecific in that way that dreams are. Like you're here and you can vaguely follow what's going on, but there's a disconnect from it all. It really is like you're just sleepwalking through it. Even if you have motivations, even if you have some surprisingly lucid thoughts, it never quite reaches the level of consciousness. The thing is, we're in Suburbia, which is, presumably where our character lives. And yet it's a situation where it's not a real version of Suburbia. Like, nowhere looks like this except Levittown. It's much more like an advertising version of the 1950s. Like, we're inside, not our own familiarity, but like an ad for some new development. I actually came very close to living in something much like this. Kind of glad I didn't. This and a couple of lamps are like the only furnishing we've seen. God, the sound design is great. Like, you hear it get much louder when you lean out a window like this. You never know where one house is going to lead you. So I don't know if following sound actually helps me here. Right as I cross the threshold, I know that night has arrived because the speakers let me know. And it makes me wonder, why are some houses lit and some dark? Why do some have furnishings and others not? No, I can faintly hear you. The speakers actually haven't stopped. Look at that, there's balconies up above that we can't actually get to. There's no way inside this house. You know, the image of the idyllic white picket fence 1950s has long been used essentially as a shorthand for a nice veneer with just evil and sinister intentions right below the surface. But this is something different. It's like you removed the sinister intentions and just left us with that veneer. Like we're looking at an empty mask. And I never know what's better, inside or out. I mean, outside there's the feeling of being caught, like we're not supposed to be here, and we have to run from some inescapable horror that might as well be the air itself. But indoors, we have dark corners. I mean, there is the urge to just kind of crouch in a corner and stay here until morning. But even the morning doesn't exactly feel welcoming. Utterly silent, these wood houses, they don't even creak. Did you hear that? I swear I heard like a faint voice. Whatever I think I hear, it's always so faint. I put up my volume earlier so that I would be sure to hear the subtle things, even over the sound of my computer. Something feels extremely wrong here. I don't like being in here. I don't like being out here, for that matter. Just a short run. Hey, this feels marginally better. Wait, was this where I entered from? This place is turning me around. It's like it holds the shape of a house, but the whole thing is only hallways and stairs. Not a room to be found. Also, whatever comes from those speakers, it doesn't seem to be on a set schedule. It just seems to happen whenever it would most scare the bejesus out of me. It's hard not to see a face in the side of that house. There it is, sun's rising. And there we are. You know what? I've actually just realized there's only one water tower. Right? We don't see any in other directions. The fences seem to stretch off forever, even if the houses don't. I think we should be making our way towards the water tower. God, way to go, game, making me feel unsafe, even when I don't even know what I feel unsafe from. Like what, that a sound will scare me? I'm as scared of the shadows inside the houses as I am of the noises out here. But yeah, it should be a bit easier to figure out at least what direction we need to be heading in. I've kind of been working my way to the outskirts. But hey, if we're looking for an elevator, might as well go to the one place that goes up and or down, right? Yes. Well, you know, it could also be the house up on the highest hill. That could also be the case. But hey, that's the whole point of this. We're not in a rush, right? Well, with this one I kind of feel like rushing. If only to spare myself a number of these cycles. Yes, I think you've made it quite clear where we're supposed to be heading. Hey, those are our points of interest. The house on the tallest hill and the water tower. It's so weird. It's like if you asked AI to generate something, you know? It's like when it has all the pieces of what something looks like, but it doesn't know what any of those things actually are. That's one concept that's always been at the core of liminal spaces. And it tricks you as well, because you look at it and you kind of have a shorthand, I think. Your brain develops shorthands to interpret images quickly. And when it looks at this, it seems right at first, and it's just more and more wrong the more you look at it. For example, these little beams in the ceiling that make us feel like we're in a basement, even though we just entered on the ground floor. Oh, I was just thinking, is this house going to be our first dead end? Not so. I was just gonna say, it's like when you see somebody who's shaved their eyebrows off. It'll take you longer than it probably should to place what's actually wrong. I think we're doing it. I think we're doing all right. Yeah, maybe we should have gone there first while we were closer, but we'll just take a different route back. We have seen that some of these houses will show us different things, right? I would be very surprised if we ended up back in our own home. We never did see the beginning of the dream pools again after we got the flashlight. But presumably that simply would have been an entrance to the basement. The achievement says find one of the basement entrances. So that's got to devastate the property value, right? Having a speaker practically leaning in your window. It's weird how music of like the 40s and 50s is like universally nostalgic. Like, I mean, me, I obviously never lived anywhere close to that time, and yet somehow it feels like something I connect to, and I don't know why. Like, I almost associate the 50s with the 90s when it comes to sound. Maybe it's degraded sound quality, maybe it's because I had a familiarity with movies of the time on TV. I don't know. I can't even come back to you with an answer for that one. I legitimately don't know why it seems to be that way. But, like, is this the darkest we've seen a room? I kind of want to hold out here. It's like a red light, green light game that no one's enforcing. I've also lost sight of the water tower. I don't think there's going to be any way to enter this house from here. So we'll just have to keep working our way around. That's the thing, these mazes, they always feel like they're laid out so that we have to work our way around the objective rather than being able to make a beeline straight to it. This looks so simple. But in a dream, you can never do the obvious thing. You can never hop the railing, you can never climb the fence. Those barriers are set for you because it's a barrier placed by your mind. In the dead silence, we are painfully aware of the echo of our footsteps in here. I don't know, I keep having this vision in my head of slowly ascending the staircase, and I turn the corner, and I see like one of my grandmas or something, but in young age, who turns around and looks at me and seems very shocked to see me. And it's a random thought, but it's one that I find just keeps coming to me while I'm exploring here. I think we're slowly weaving our way into a center. And actually, I haven't heard a peep out of these speakers tonight. I think I saw the sun start to rise there. I think we'll be home free soon. There it is. And you know, I've just thought of another factor of this whole thing. I think we have to go out down there. But I've just thought of another factor of this whole thing. The constant back and forth between day and night. The fact that it happens so frequently. I think it really, just like being downstairs in the dark all the time, it completely screws with your perception of time. It makes you feel like you've been doing this forever, even though I've only been at this for about half an hour. At least according to my recording. Like, the sun just keeps going up and down, and that's how we define our internal clock, you know? For example, it always means night is coming when the speakers stop, so why have the speakers stopped in the morning? It's like whatever's in the water tower is trying to hide from me. Well, it's not going to succeed. And look, I'm just trying to, like, beat it right now. But I'm sure you could explore this a lot more. Most of it is the same, but some things stand out. What a journey it feels like it's been just to get here, just to get to the other side of town, this thing that I could see the entire time. It is basically an inversion of the previous level. Grab key. The key maybe to a door in the edge, where the sky meets the ground. Fitting that we should get here as the shadows and sunlight pass over. That key also appears to have an Argentinian flag on it. I believe it's made by Argentinian developers. Find the master key in Eternal Suburbia. But what does that get us? Well, we found one part of it from the most obvious feature, but now what? Does this easel maybe point us in the right direction? But that's gotta be something. It's just a little dark blip on the end there. But I don't see anything else out there. So let's go. I mean, we don't have needs to worry about in this, but I just keep thinking, what if this actually were a matter of survival? What if we were getting hungry or thirsty as we explored here? I mean, something like that, something we can see would feel so far away. Imagine getting really hungry and just limping along. Having a difficult time walking is the kind of thing that you almost can't comprehend. You can't imagine until it's happening to you. I remember this one time I made the mistake of running 5 miles on the treadmill right before I was set to go walk around with my cousin in New York City. And we walked like an additional 10 miles, and my legs just gave out. Like at a certain point, it truly became to the point where I would like get up, lurch a few steps, and then have to take a break. And you know, being a young guy in good health, it was something I just couldn't conceive of before then, of not having mobility. It actually felt like those nightmares where you can't move. Also, is it just me, or is there more of a defined path in some places now? Like the grass is dead, or it's more dirt? I'm also not quite sure where I'm really going. Look at this. Light and darkness, it tells the whole story every time you enter one of these structures. But no, I don't want to be facing this way. It's the unpredictability of these sirens, the fact that you know they could do it at any time. But again, most times they don't. They so rarely do. Saying there are no jump scares on the store page is a straight up lie, but this game is delivering on the experience that it promises. Wait. If we were to come up here at night, we need to get our sense of direction again. It was over this way. Yeah, maybe it is best to work our way here, because look at how dense that weave of fences is down there. I don't know if all of this even leads to anything, but by following this path, it will get us closer. The other way, complete dead end. The only problem is that at this stage, it becomes a bit more of a memory game. Simply knowing that this is the way to go, and every once in a while, I catch glimmers of what might be stars, like these little flashes in the sky, but they're always gone by the time I even register them. Don't you do this, speakers. What a timely sunrise. We're actually going to be getting to the top of a hill, so we might be able to look around and see where that door is from there. Yes, thank you very much. Still, we look around and this seems to be it, but look at how close the water tower is and think about how far we had to come to get to it. There's still a long way to go yet. Can't even focus. Maybe if I can get up high in this house. I swear the lighting in this is amazing. Any windows on this side? There it is. Was there a doorway on that rear face? By the way, this is certainly not where I need to be. I don't know if there would be. I just gotta figure out a way to get through this house. Here we are. You know, this is interesting. Of course, it's an enclosed yard. But I think we're going the right way if we can go through this house. It's so strange that through that painting, it actually seems like it's deliberately trying to guide me. But what does that mean? Maybe it's how this place says, get out. And get out we shall. Just like the elevator before, it's the long stretch to potential freedom. Were it not for the portrait, I'd never have even noticed this door out here. It's all very Truman Show. In this case, we're taking it almost literally. Like, everything about this feels so fake from the outset. I even compared it to being like a train set. But for the sky to literally not be real, that was like the one thing that seemed authentic. The one thing that ever moves. But here we are. It was always a dome. How do you feel knowing it was all fake? Actually, when we come up to the wall, we can even see the rough texture of the paint, the surface beneath. This was a really bizarre dream. But have you ever had a dream like this where it almost has a cycle? Where it keeps going back and forth between like this system of positive and negative moments? Like, you know you're searching for the exit, trying to get closer to the tower, but every once in a while it changes for a period. Everything goes dark, you see the sun falling from the sky. These terrifying noises start sporadically erupting from the speakers that gave comfort before, but it's done in such a way where there's no way to predict it. You know it will happen again, but that's all you know. And so even the good times make you tense. You again. We've only seen you twice, once per world. But nothing to accompany you now. Also, I've just noticed I have no footsteps. It's like I'm walking on air. It was just the beginning. We've peaked beyond our reality, our fake reality. And now we see the true infrastructure, what keeps it all going. Oh no. There is such a psychiatric disorder known as the Truman Show delusion. The belief that someone's life is entirely constructed for the entertainment of others. Well, what do you call this? Restricted area. Well, I guess we don't need any kind of code. Or maybe we're the VIP. Servers? This is the first real persistent sound we've had. All the leftover road signs, but let's really examine this. At first, this seems like the most grounded, if you can call it that, space we've been in. But even this has its quirks and oddities. Like, we see something as identifiable as a server rack, but why here? Why in the middle of a hallway? These seem to be all the signs that should have been present in the Suburbia, piled up in here like a storage room, but there's no way to enter the storage room. They're behind windows, as if it's observation containment. And this comes up to here. Where do we even go from here? There's a caution sign beyond each of these. And these rectangular ports in giant walls seems to be a recurring image. But this area, a bit more on the linear side of things. Just a bit. Well, this is being glitchy, but we can look up and see even more rows of servers. A radio that isn't on, and a full map. Someone's machinations. And I would never be able to tell from just this. Is this maybe the dream pools, or is this something that's to come? Can't help but imagine heads silently turning to watch me with contempt as I walk by. Self-referential power. Interesting. The scientists will want to hear about this. Look at that, the creation of the map itself. And a random aerial view. Oh, this is so strange. It's like the map itself was created as part of this experience, but now we find ourselves living in it. There's an Argentinian flag there. I wonder if there's like a story reason for that, or if it's just a case of Argentina mentioned, representing the home team. Rules. Keep tidy. Color guidelines. Quiet hours. Enjoy. Guest house. And that's the developer right there. It's part of it there. But you know, isn't that just the way? Because we are sort of living our own little Truman Show, our own little nightmare to wander around in. And I imagine these devs are going to take great pleasure in watching myself and others stumble around them in a panic. It really is making the most of the Truman Show idea, because it actually does feel like we're peeking behind the curtain a little bit, from the perspective that we're aware we're playing a video game. But the reason it feels like such a shock is because we lose ourselves in it, and by now we've kind of forgotten that. Tell me what to do. See, that sign right there says that right turns and circles are friends. So if we make a right turn, well, doing circles, that looked like the silhouette of a person for a second. I kind of punished myself with that one. Sorry, motion blur. There we go. Welcome to the neighborhood. There are more suburbs. Much more detailed, representing a more modern era. Bins left out for waste collection, although a symbol on them I don't recognize. And yet not a single one of these houses has an entrance, well, except for this door over here. No. No, you can't do this now. No! No, you can't. Okay, no, back. Back out onto the streets, right? Back out onto the streets, just for now. Oh my god. Wait, no, this way. Just for now. I'd hate to not see this for all it's worth, right? the one door led there. And this leads here. I imagine it's similar. In fact, it's probably just the other end of the same thing. Okay, I feel a little bit more reassured in exploring this now. Okay, that sound is indeed just coming from the lights. May I introduce to you a novel concept, the Slip Cul-de-sac. It only looks like a cul-de-sac from a certain angle. But every door, even if they're not connected, leads to the similar things. This is simply what it looks like inside these structures. I looked at these streets and my first thought was, have we actually found reality? Well, one quick glimpse shows that no, we have not. Wait, do you hear that? I can hear that beeping. The elevator, it's here. I think it's coming from this way. To once again reference dream logic, the fact that settings can change on a dime, and you don't even notice anything wrong. Over here. It's so infrequent that sometimes I think I've lost it. There it is. I'm telling you, these ceilings seem just about too tall to fit inside what we had there. Like, the idea that all these rows of houses are just one megastructure on the inside, but none of these windows, none of these garage doors are real, that there's a reason you can't enter. I'm running out of words. I'm gonna have to crack open a thesaurus, but it's extremely unsettling, unnerving. It's like a reverse Truman Show where, in the first version, we were contained inside a dome. But here, we walk around on the outside, and it's what's contained in these boxes around us that would shatter our reality. This one also reads 94. I'm ready, though. That took just long enough to worry me. We're back. It wasn't the end. No. Welcome to the guest house. Meet the new suburb. The guest house? That's what was referenced on the whiteboard in the dev room. each representing a different kind of suburbia, but it's like we're peeling back the different layers of reality, and each of these makes it worse because we realize that ours was buried beneath all of this. Each time we come into a new street, our life was even more of a lie. Welcome, guest house. Your home away from home. Look at this, it's all new and modern. I can smell the demo house smell. New carpet, the fresh paint on these wall trimmings. But the interiors, instead of using the classic backrooms imagery, are, well, like a normal house. Most of these rooms I can imagine in one, but it simply doesn't fit together naturally. No furniture, no windows. God, why haven't I considered this before? The idea of an endless liminal space like the back rooms, but conforming to the images of a regular suburban house. I mean, regular suburbia has been done before as a liminal space, but this is something altogether new. These windows do actually work, though. Which is a weird thing to say, but hey, circumstances are what circumstances are. We've just worked our way back to the wall. Perhaps we are better off downstairs? If I can find some stairs. A couple dozen rooms, and you're the first piece of furniture I've seen. Unfortunately, it will not allow me to indulge in lying down. Shame, it looks comfortable. Got these interweaving hallways, side by side with each other, but you're always moving around your objective. And also, like, the aliasing or the shadows or the grain, it always makes me think that something is moving around a corner. We've definitely been through here already. I love how this has gone on for so long that the image of each level does not prepare you for it. The day-night cycle is still very much in effect. Is this the first time we've had non-diegetic music? I've been through here. Haven't I? Maybe? Interior windows, always a treat. I can't even keep to one side and get out of here. I crawled in here and I've just gotten stuck. Worst part is, we went up that way before. That music's so simple. That music combined with this space, it does really remind me of a childhood memory. Like how my own home seemed so big. A door. Which exits into an alleyway. And we'll have to re-enter through another one. This one a slightly different paint job of a suburban house. Well, moving from hardwood floors onto carpet, even for the darkness, I guess is a little bit more comfortable. Then again, I wonder if we're following established backrooms convention and making it slightly damp. Well, rise and shine. The good news, the one thing that saves me, is that the geometry is set in stone as far as I can tell. So we can make certain inferences about where to go or how to go about things. Sometimes we don't know anything. We are back where we started. Wait. Did you just throw that assumption on its head? Because it seems like we just came out where we came out before. Unless this is a different street entirely? Not that I have much way of knowing. It is different, if only... If only I had been able to internalize that map, huh? Still, being able to waltz right out and find that developer room, it makes it seem like this whole thing is a project that's gotten out of hand. Like not even they control where it goes anymore. Of course, maybe the idea of this being made by developers at all is part of the dream. The achievements in this stage keep referencing that. Okay, it's here. But we know how much it likes to dangle the prospect of freedom in front of us. Fortunately, we've no... new soundtrack? Wait. Stay down low then. You know, I realize we are now just doing like the much more complicated version of the houses in the beginning. Just going up and down, trying to find the opposite door on another wall. Like so. Does that really get us anywhere? Well, perhaps, since this alley seems to be entirely self-contained. I mean, sure, why not? And I don't know if this music is supposed to be non-diegetic or if it's just playing everywhere. I do believe I've just come out the exact same way I went in, but that gives us the opportunity to try another door. Oh, hey. Maybe slightly different in design, but it's familiar. And not at all where I'm going. It didn't look like I was gonna make that, but it seems like I can. Well, you know how this works. Irregularities are always a good sign. By which I mean there are no signs, and the idea of signs is entirely a construct that I'll need to unlearn if I want to have any hope of grasping this. Wait. Oh, wait. Have I been in this place before? No, it's not the same house as the first one. But the question is, now what? How do I ever know what to do or where to go? You know what I think it is? I think I'm supposed to be working my way more towards a center, right? That whiteboard in the beginning had the answers. That says no exit. No exit. What if I follow directions that don't have that? Maximum 10 kilometers an hour. See, I don't know if I'm reading too deeply into this. Should I take them at face value on this? No exit. This is different, much more tiley. This guy would be right at home in the pool rooms. And here the lights are blinding, like big bright lights in small spaces. But the path seems to be relatively linear. Light or dark? What do we want? Let's say dark. I think we might have been here before. I I truly don't know what to do here. I don't know even where I'm supposed to go. But look, the sign over here says no exit. We're still gonna keep... It tells me to be observant, so I've got to imagine there's some way we can figure out how to do this. So let's review what we know. The corners have these doors. There is like an inward section, but it's kind of hard to determine. It's kind of hard to determine a lot of things. What if we try an outer corner again? Maybe we can get something from that. We can't tell from the windows what's going to be inside. No, that's you again. This inner thing, this has got to be the center. This is the hub. Hub to what? I don't know. That the whiteboard would presumably let us know. Pink. This is a new one. We haven't seen this before. I think. I'm staying with the new thing. The carpet's down here. This is what I want to see more of. Because that's the only way to get through stuff like this, is to allow yourself to be drawn to new things. Of course, this just brings us back out onto another street. And this is new. And here is yet another hub. I can't quite be sure if this is someplace new. In fact, I can't quite be sure of many things. That ambiance is new, as is the darkness. This has suddenly taken on a much more dense, panicky atmosphere. And then it just stops as soon as I cross the threshold. This one doesn't have an exit sign. But it functions the same way. This street appears to be a total dead end, a first that I've seen. Look at this. See, whatever we're looking for, it's gotta be in one of these structures, right? Because otherwise, why else would it not have even shown us what it is we're looking for? Not even a hint. These no exit signs start to feel more like a taunt after a while. I've been running around for quite a while. I can't figure out what to do. Dual staircases. Very Kubrick-esque. But I'm still not seeing a real answer to this. These streets are a lot bigger than I thought they were. Like a lot. And it's not giving me the impression that there's any real, like, center to this, any nucleus. Wait. Hang on, let me sit all the way up in my chair again. I hear it. Over on the left somewhere, I think. Oh my god, have I been wasting my time indoors? I come out and run the streets, and this is what I need. There's a no exit sign here. Well, I can see that, which makes me mighty suspicious. I think it's the roads themselves that I need to worry about. Alright, I can make my way all the way to this corner. And I think what I need is to try and work my way more down this way. I think I need to go all the way down these streets and come out on the other side in a way that... No? Maybe. Have I seen this town square before? That's the question. The thing is, what I'm realizing is that the streets are not all connected. There we are. Unless, of course, this is just where we entered from. The first one that didn't read 94. Escape from Eternal Suburbia. Find the elevator to exit Suburbia. It's crazy how many hands go into making such a deliberately empty experience, isn't it? And I see a lot of repeat names as well, so, you know, there's clearly a lot of passion, a lot of people with, like, a lot of talent. And it really makes you think about how much intention there is in making an effective empty experience, in making it seem like there is no intention. But when you really start digging into it, and when you have the time to spend in your own head, you realize all the things they're doing and all the things that it wants this experience to be. I also really appreciated how different of an experience Eternal Suburbia was. I mean, that didn't take much longer than the first one, and yet, once again, it felt like an eternity. And it did that in a lot of ways by the actually massive difference in between the different areas compared to the first one, in the way each level had a day and night cycle. And also each segment had very much its own identity, all while keeping the same theme to make it worthy of being one level. It does have jump scares, but they're incredibly sparing, and I'm really interested in the way it pulls them off. I mean, the first one was actually as overt as it got with a moving entity. But in that case, and with the speakers, it did something interesting where it makes either a longer and more distressing noise, but one that's much less shocking and startling, or something that is immediate, actually more immediate than you would expect from a jump scare, something that's gone by the time you've even, noticed it. But it's not a conventional jump scare sound, not like a scream or a crash or a bang. Just a noise. I can't even tell you what they were sometimes. I'm really impressed with how, through its game design, and the way it handled its levels, which are otherwise extremely familiar, it was able to present them to us so that we have to approach them in a very different way, and it makes it stand out among a very saturated genre. I find that on the whole, it's a lot denser than other liminal exploration games, where, some of them are more about the horror of trying to get out, some are more about just sightseeing. While this just does feel like a bad dream a lot of the time, and I think a part of that is because you have the nostalgic lens given to us by the camera function, which also works as a zoom, so it's mechanically relevant. But also, we engage with the human just a little bit. We're not characterized, they're not voiced and looking around talking about how weird this is, but we see the first one arrive on the slide, allowing us to speculate a bit, and we see the second one awaken, and the sound kind of conveys what they're feeling as they look out the window and see all of this. It's not so much that we humanize the setting by placing ourselves in it, but we sort of humanize our role in it, I guess. We sort of place ourselves in that role rather than just seeing ourselves as the camera. Seems like there's plenty more to come. Even for those 2 levels, there is a lot of content here. I'm sure plenty I didn't even see. In fact, if I have a look at the achievements, it seems I got 10 out of 12, not bad. But there are certainly still things I missed, including one called Cognupo. Find the statue that lets you cross the threshold of consciousness. And red pools. Not everything is white. Sometimes it's red. Ominous. Okay, even the music abruptly cut out. But hey, there is a lot more to come, and I am incredibly curious. But all that will have to wait until next time. Until then, if you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more creepy and comfy content. If you have any ideas for other videos you think I should do, the best place to suggest that will be at the Discord, which I will link in the description. If you want to try this game out for yourself, that link will also be in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, that link will be in the description. And as always, I will see you in the next one.